Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bethalkis, and tonight we're talking about Future Man Season 2, Episode 2, The Eye of the Tiger. And welcome all the chuckle fucks in the in my chat stream here. By the way, that is my new go-to word is chuckle fucks, by the way. Great line and word. So this season is just as good as the first season as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty damn funny. It's got some good stuff. Fikey bitch says we are your loyal chuckle fucks. So before I start here, I just want to let you know, spoiler alert, I am going to be spoiling the hell out of the episode. If you haven't seen the episode, why? Go and see it. It's free on Hulu. You can sign up for a free Hulu account for 30 days. Season 1 and Season 2 are up in its entirety. You can watch both. You can watch them for free. I don't get paid by Hulu, by the way, to say this. I just really like the show. The show is actually pretty damn good. You can watch both. Come on back, and then you can comment down below in the video here and watch the video as well. And thank you, Viking Bitch. So I'll get to the chat here once I go through and do the recap. And I do the recap fairly quickly, just so you know. I usually spend about 20 to 30 minutes per video here. So I don't like to mince words, shall we say, about this. But I'll get to you guys in just a minute. So one thing I had forgotten to mention in the episode 1 was that it reminded me at the very end of season 1, Tiger had gotten hit by the biotic gas, the cure, if you will. She actually got cured. And when they were in the, getting shot at by the biotics in the crematorium there. And so when they jumped out, she had the cure. She was a biotic, essentially. She had become a perf at this point. And Tiger and Wolf land in the reflecting pool commemorating the destruction of the the Cronish Tower, the crematorium, in 2162. And Wolf is coughing his brains out, and of course Tiger is like, she's not being affected by this at all, and she's like kind of faking this out as well. And they realize that Josh was successful. He blew up the building. They were successful. They blew it up, and they probably changed their future for the better. And they're commiserating that Josh's name just wasn't on this plaque. So she scratches it in with her knife, and she goes, "Well, maybe we should say some words about this, And she looks at him and at Wolf, and she goes, "I really don't know what to say because I'm really bad at public speaking." And Wolf's like, "Oh, okay." So he starts eulogizing Josh. And it turns into a eulogy mainly for his dick that was on Josh that died. And yeah, it just gets, a little bit of dick humor there. Because, again, it is a Seth Rogen show. It would not be a Seth Rogen show without a little bit of dick humor. So, Movie for No, he says, follow the sign. She's a biotic, but she's not probiotic. Oh, come on, man. Really? That was a bad one. Oh, so I like how when he's talking about Josh's dick, this one's adequate, just like Josh. It's small, but it packs a wallop when it needs to every now and then. So they go to explore the new future, and they're walking through, and they're like, wow, it's a lot hotter than I remember, but I'm okay with it. And they're walking through the desert, and they come up to the 3 skeletons. They think it's this war they went through. They think it's the 3 skeletons that they had fought through before, and it turns out to be scarecrows. And scarecrows are protecting this gigantic field of beans. Yes, I did say field of beans. If you got that joke. I didn't get it the first 2 times I went through this. The third time I was like, oh yeah, field of beans. Okay, I get it. You didn't say it, but you showed us that. Pretty damn funny. The giant beans are actually an amalgam of all beans all together, like, lima beans, fava beans, you name it, they're all in there. And Wolf is eating this, and he's just kind of digging on it, and Tiger sees some children running, and she's really surprised to see children, and the children are scared by her and run off. They're screaming, and Wolf passes out. So she picks up Wolf and brings him over to where the children are running, and the children have run over to some adults and say that there are strangers out in the field. And um, they end up, they know who he is. Actually, Tiger knows one of the main guys as Weasel. He goes, "What are you talking about, Weasel? My name's Wrench." And she says, "Well, Wolf's been hit." And he goes, "That's not Wolf, that's Torque. And I don't know who you are." So they don't know who she is, and they're going to make her eat a sewer mushroom because, as they put it, your pants make brown. Welcome to our town. Your pants stay dry. You're going to die. And so while the girl goes inside to go get a sewer mushroom, Tiger knocks the crap out of Wrench, takes his cloak and his weapon, and walks off. Leaves him there to get healed because he's been shot. She's been shot as well, so she's still bleeding as well. Yeah, I loved how instead of all animals, they're now called by tool names: Torque, Wrench, and so on and so forth. Yeah, Morks. I'm not going to even say anything about that one. Um, oh man, so she actually had taken him over to the new above ground, or the NAG is what it's called. That's what we get as a little thing below there. And Tiger walks off, and as she's wandering the desert, she ends up taking a look at, she's remembering back to what her and Wolf had gone through and what she had said, that Wolf is her only family, and how when they come back to the future, they're going to be the only two that remember the future the way they remembered it. So they're family. They're the only ones that are going to have each other's backs. And yeah. So, and thank you, Belinda. Yeah, I'm happy I'm doing this too, because it's a fun show. It needs to be done. I'm not seeing anything out there, quite honestly, and covering Future Man, and it needs to be covered. It needs a little bit of love, even though Hulu is actually promoting this, unlike Star's promoting Counterpart, which they're not doing at all. So we'll get to that on Sunday though with Counterpart. Okay. So she's wandering through the desert there, and she hears this little boy crying for help, but it's kind of an electronic cry for help. And she yells out to, show yourself. And then she sees a sign, and this holographic boy appears, and he's pitching people coming one and all to go to Mars. And they're going to actually train to go to Mars first at this place called the Mons. And so she sees this town. She overlooks the town. She's standing up on top of this ridge and sees the town, and decides to bury the TTD device, which is good. She does that and wanders into town. She's like, "Yo, future asshole, where's the infirmary at?" She's trying to find out where she's going, and she wanders into this one building, and there's an AI named Cassini who decides to tell her, about the history of what happened, because she's asking some questions. And mainly Cassini's there to answer people's questions about Mars, like, what does Mars smell like? Do I need a coat for Mars? All this kind of stuff, which is pretty damn funny. And by the way, Cassini is voiced by Will Forte, which is pretty funny. So yes, future asshole, exactly. As Belinda says. And I love it how she goes, "What do you mean biotic scum?" And he goes, "Whoopsie, that's hate speech. Can you please rephrase the question?" Hate speech is a no-no. You need to rephrase that question. And so she's trying to figure out how long this war has lasted. And she goes, Cassini tells her the war has lasted 100 years. She's like, "Fuck me." And he goes, "I can't do that. I'm not equipped to do that, but I can take you to some places that are." And he starts listing off all the places that she can go and get fucked. So there was a war that happened because the government withheld the cure to a dying populace. And that's the reason why the war happened for, 100 years. And it was a pretty brutal war too. Cassini ends up showing her all these images because, of course, that's the best way to relate it, is not by telling her this, but by showing it in images, each more brutal than the last, and faster and faster and faster, until she can't take it anymore and starts beating the shit out of Cassini. And of course, he protests against it because there is a law against beating up an AI program, against violence against machines there. So She ends up leaving because she starts bleeding a little bit more, and he says, "You are in need of medical attention. You are bleeding." He tells her how fast her blood rate is, and she sees a little cross sign on one of the buildings across the way and goes over there to go and fix herself up. And she's digging through all this stuff to try and find stuff to stitch herself back up again. And someone comes in to drop off the dry cleaning because it's actually a dry cleaner's. It's not an infirmary. And she goes, the infirmary is like 2 quads over and 3 up. And yeah, she's just, really kind of embarrassed and leaves. We can see it's a completely different Tiger than what we saw at the beginning of season 1, of course. And so as she's walking over to go and find the infirmary, 3 people are following her. And she notices them out of the corner of her eye. She turns around behind a building, and they split up and they go around both sides of the building, and she's gone. And like, where'd she go? And she yells out, "She's right here." And she jumps on top of them from up above and says, "What do you want from me?" And they invite her up to the house that's built in the hill. So when she walks into the house built in the hill, who's there but Stu Camillo? And he's playing the piano. And he's like, "Oh my God, is it really you?" And she's like, "Oh shit, he's still alive?" Because, it's now 2162. He's supposed to be dead at this point. No, it turns out that he uploaded his entire brain to a computer. He is an AIS, which is an augmented intelligence system. And he sees that she's shot, and he calls in Dr. Ogilvy, or Eunice Ogilvy, who is also known to us as Athena, that we saw her in the first episode. And Athena is trying to mend her wounds. She goes, I'd like to see the gun that this came from. And she goes, "Sure, why don't we go back 100 years and find the chuckle fucks who did it, and we can get the gun from them." Which, again, that is one of my favorite words now, is chuckle fuck. It's really damn fun. So Stu ends up telling her that he created the cure because tens of millions of people were dying. And it was literally because he was the father of the cure, but she was the mother of it. Because he was so obsessed with her, he wanted to find her through her DNA that she left behind in a strand of hair. And she's pissed off that she left behind a relic, basically, at this point, to because he resequenced her DNA from it and saw that it had a really unique genome, and that's what he got the cure from. So yeah, she's responsible for fucking up the timeline this time. It's not Josh, surprisingly. So she scares Stu. Stu takes off for a second and goes to his therapist, his AI therapist, and is talking to her about that Tyann is back, and that he's afraid of messing everything up again and all this stuff. And the therapist says, "You're a real person. You're a good person." And she goes, "Do you need a hug?" And he says, "Yes." "Can you do it as the bunny?" "And anything you want." And she appears as a giant, like a person, a furry, basically, dressed in a bunny suit, and hugs him. So, yeah, furries, man. This show has everything. It has butt chugging, sewer mushrooms, chuckle fucks, furries. So Stu comes back and tells her that the war has been going on for 114 years, that they like to round down for morale reasons. And she's like, "Really? 114 years?" She goes, "When I left, it was only 30 years that our war was going on. Now, because of you, it's actually gone on a lot longer." And he goes, "And kind of a little bit worse than that. Pretty much all the animals have died off, and we're getting ready to leave. We're going to go to Mars because Earth is dying," kind of thing. In the meantime, Athena has one of her guys and her. They're outside looking for the TTD with a little probe, and they find it. They find where Tiger has hidden her TTD. And Tiger, by this way, has come clean and told Stu everything about who she is, what she was doing there, that she was responsible for blowing up the crematorium, all that stuff. And just, he's kind of surprised by all of this. So she takes off. She's like, "You know what? Fuck this." She goes outside and she's walking away, and Stu is trying to convince her, "You know what? I was doing this for the benefit of mankind. He goes, it was the government that tried, holding back the cure. That's the reason why the war happened. It wasn't my fault on this. He goes, I was actually trying to help mankind. That's why we're leaving. We're going to Mars. We're going to start all over again. She goes, yeah, well, what about those people out in the NAG? And he goes, well, I tried to help them. He goes, I sent them the cure. They smashed it. When puppies died out, he goes, I sent them a robotic puppy, and they smashed that too. And she goes, yeah, well, you did take away their staple food source and gave them an inedible toy, which is just wrong, honestly. And we find out that they're technophobes, of course, the NAG, and they don't want anything to do with these Mons or the techies or the techs, as they call them now. The biotechs, excuse me. So Stu ends up coaxing her back into his place and says, I want you to meet one other thing. My daughter, Tyann. And it's a clone of Tiger. She looks a little bit older and dressed way worse and seems to be a little bit vapid. As she goes, hello, kind of thing. And hi. Yeah, it just, and that's kind of where we leave it off, is she's met her own clone. And yeah, damn. Good episode. Damn good episode. A lot of fun. And the bean thing, man, the feel of beans, that made me laugh. Thanks, Filthy. Let's see what you guys are saying here. I know you guys are talking amongst yourselves here. All right. Viking Bitch says Tiger doesn't even break a sweat getting that cloak. No, she doesn't. She kicked Wrench's ass like it was nothing. I've actually seen episode 3, and I know how much fun he gets made out of that too. Viking Bitch says, when I hold his... Okay. Yeah, that's what Wolf was saying. When I hold his dick in my hand, it's like holding hands across the timelines. Oh, man. Yeah. Yes. Mork says your pants turn red. Fornobi was here. Nice. All right. What else do we have here? Yeah, Pen Farm Girl. Her dialogue is fantastic. There's a lot of great lines that Tiger gets to say, that Eliza gets to say as Tiger. And now that she's a clone too, I'm waiting to see what she's going to do with that. Because, I mean, I like I said, I loved her on Happy Endings. She had some great lines in that as well. And I know she's actually a comedian. She does stand-up comedy. I've heard her. I actually used to follow her on Twitter, and she's pretty damn funny on Twitter too. But it got to be taking up too much of my stream, so I stopped following her. But that in the restraining order. Mufinobi says, laugh out loud. That museum squawk box playing images like war video clips in The Fifth Element. Shall I play them faster for dramatic impact? Yeah. Some good stuff. Yeah, the writing is still really good. I know people are saying this is a slowed down from season 1, and that's by intent, I think. And then also, they did have a little bit of change in the writer's room, that kind of stuff. But I still think that's good. First view, when you're watching through the episodes, the first view, it seems a little bit slower than season 1. That's because it is. They're trying to build on story, but I think the second viewing is actually pretty good, and so is the third and the fourth as well. Yeah, sorry that you're sick there, Filthy. It's taken down my office too with a lot of things. I've been wandering away from people that are making that sound. Kato Rowan says, I can't make up my mind if this season is better or worse than the previous one. It's different and more paced, at least. This one is about the same, honestly, Kato, I think. Mufinobi says Stu should... Oh, yeah, when... that's the other thing, is Stu is a hologram, and Tiger trying to stab him repeatedly. It's like, it doesn't hurt me. Well, it doesn't hurt me physically. Emotionally, it makes me feel bad. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, Mufino. The therapist takes whatever he's thinking positive and negative and amplifies it. Yeah, it is like Susan from The Good Place. Yes, you're right. Cato Run says +1 for Dennis explaining things slowly and centrally. Just for you, Cato. Just for you. Belinda, yes, the Happy trailer is out for season 2. I did put that up on my Facebook page. So, where are we at here? We also have that high voice. Wow. Yeah. Viking bitch. Yeah. When she did that really annoying, shrill kind of high voice for the clone, I was like, oh man. And yeah, it's going to be weird. Mufinobi, he had more than 75 years to process those feelings. Considering that, as therapist said, what was it, 16 quadrillion lifetimes in the 12 minutes. So that he had a lot more than what was it, 2162 that they're in right now, and they left in 2017. So he had over 150 years to get rid of that. Yeah, there you go. All right. So yes, Viking Mitch, you're right. This show does just get better as it goes along. So that is the end of that episode. It's really good. I'm going to be doing episode 3 on Friday at 6 p.m. By the way, tonight is the premiere of Deadly Class on Sci-Fi for the first episode. It already was released about a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, actually, on sci-fi.com and also on YouTube. I've reviewed it. It is up on my site on YouTube. Take a look at it. I actually have it pinned as one of my opening videos there. Take a look, see what you think. I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And other than that, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you like what you see. Hit the like button as well. Hit the dislike button if you don't like what you see too. Hit the bell if you want to be notified of when new videos are coming up from me. And also, you're going to see in a little bit the subscribe button over here and a video button over here, selecting the best fit out of my videos for you to take a look at if you're still on the fence about subscribing or not. I do have a Facebook page. I do have a website, suspendedfanimation.com. And I'm also on Instagram and Twitter as well. So you could follow me on all of those. You could follow me on none of those, depending on whatever your tastes are. On Saturday, I do a all-encompassing news, basically the new genre news for the week. And everyone comes in. It's usually about an hour and a half long, something like that. So come on in, join the fun. We talk about all kinds of stuff. And other than that, tomorrow night is going to be Thursday night. That is Gotham and the Orville. And it might be curtains for the Orville on my show if the episode does not get better. That's all I'm going to say. I gave it 4 episodes, and then I'll cut it if it's not doing that well. So other than that, like I said, subscribe, take a look at the videos over here, and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up finding out that someone's cloned you and sent you in the future. Good night, everybody.